This program is brought to you in part by SalCal Real Estate Connections. Welcome back for round 4, and yes, this newer version of Trans Am gives us a hint about what we're going to be covering one of the cars today, and boy, let me tell you, you are in for a treat again, because what you're going to see you are not going to believe today, trust me. Just grab a comfortable chair and relax.
My name is Todd Wormack, and I'm with Trans Am Worldwide. We are a conversion company. Our company has the exclusive rights to the Trans Am brand. This is our 3rd year here at the New York Auto Show. The first year we came with our Bandit Edition, was built on the 5th Gen platform. Perhaps you've seen that. That's the program we did with Burt Reynolds. There were 77 of those in the edition. They've sold out. We've now moved on to the 6th Gen platform. What we do is we take a stock Camaro. We get them in on MSO brand new. We strip them down. They go through 9 independent stations. We swap over 380 parts now. And during that process, ultimately they end up like these cars that you see here today. These 3 that we have on display today belong to customers. The white one and the black one were just pulled off the line 2 days before we came up here. The black one, for example, represents the first Super Duty edition that we've done with the drag pack that was ordered specially by the customer. The Super Duty is an edition that we announced last year, and now they're in production. There's 50 in the edition. There will only be 50 made. It's very unique in that it pays homage to the Super Duty of 1973 and 74. And this particular edition, the powertrain, the engines are built by famous NASCAR engine builder Joey Arrington out of Charlotte. The standard Super Duty engine comes with 1,000 horsepower and 1,040 foot-pounds of torque. Our goal was to build a car that was streetable with extreme horsepower. It's taken months to find that equilibrium, that balance between those two. But at last, I think we have a car, as I've said many times, that your wife can pick up the kids at the nursery, stop by the grocery store, and then when she gets home, you can hop in and go to the track, right? So I feel that we've successfully accomplished that goal. And going back to the black car, we've had some strong interest in taking these cars to another extreme, which was really making them track ready, similar to what Dodge did with the Demon. So we came up with a package, consulted with our engineers and our performance department, and we've come up with a package that's represented on this black car. So in this particular package, the suspension is completely reworked. It's got a 3.5-inch aluminum drive shaft, new half shafts. It's got new trailing arms, control arms, adjustable sway bars, 9-inch differential. So it's really track ready. It comes with the slicks or the drag radials, and it's, in this particular customer's case, he's ready for the track, and when he's done, he can put street tires and wheels on it and enjoy the weekend. So, as it relates to a lot of the design, a lot of the changes we've made, all that's done in-house. Tom Sawyer is to my left here. I want to bring him up and let him field some questions if you have any. He is responsible for the design on the car. He's the guy that's spending untold hours down at the office late at night, poring over designs, and I come in the morning and he's wiping sleep out of his eyes, and I'm reviewing what he's done in the last 6 hours before. and ultimately we work real close together to come up with what you've seen here. He can talk more to some of the ideas behind the design, but all in all, we've had a very successful program as a company. We've grown tremendously. We literally ship now all around the world, and we specialize in really taking the Trans Am brand to much more of a supercar status. We do things on a very limited basis, so we are able to specialize in the details, things that you would not typically see in a mass production environment. So we take a lot of pride in that, and as I mentioned before, we start with a Camaro chassis. The Trans Am and Camaro were always built on the same chassis, so it only follows that you would start there. We just reverse the process, and we tear it down to a rolling chassis, and then we build it back up with our components. What is not represented here today that we do is T-tops. We completely changed the roof system. We have it set on display over here on this stand, but we didn't have one that was, the only one that we had that was ready was being shipped out to a customer in Arizona. So with that, I'm gonna let Tom speak a moment on design. If you have any questions, feel free.
Just a quick question. Do you think it might go less expensive for
I'd love to do a formula version. I really would. I think that's definitely something that we'll consider. I think we've already got some initial designs. I know we do on the 5th gen platform. So. Were you guys here last year? Yeah.
You guys have any questions?
Have any questions? All of these cars that are here right now are 1,000 horsepower. Actually, this car is 1,100 horsepower. Anything else?
Do you guys design prototype the formations in-house, or how does that work?
Everything's designed and built in-house. So we have carbon production in-house, plastics, the grills, the wheels. There's really not too many parts that we don't make ourselves, especially the first ones. So, maybe we'll find somebody to help us out, outside source, but always companies that are rooted in racing of some sort. I mean, we even use people that race sailboats on like a World Cup level that do carbon. So, myself as an engineer, I'm just not enough engineer for this car. So I just go to the best. So we go to Wisconsin, the best machinists are there. In New England, the best carbon guys are there. In California, so the best CAD guys are there. So that is how the car comes together. Initially, 100% of the design happens in-house. And then, we become a bigger company through community. Anything else? We have 3 more designs right now that we're working on that are not Trans Ams, you could say that. And not all of them are Camaro based. So this platform, we don't get the chassis until somebody's already driving it, right? So for us to bring this car last year, it happened in months. It was extremely fast. But we still push it as hard as we can. And then in the meantime, we're designing, we had a GTO on the last chassis, right? So the Judge, right? So the Judge is coming back. We didn't produce the Judge. We only built 8. It was a handcrafted car. There wasn't even a tool. They're literally handcrafted. So to take that to the next level on this chassis, and you won't see a Camaro panel. There won't be a quarter or a roof. We'll still be using all of the engineered structure, and that's something that we'll always do. But we're moving past that for some of the newer models, and you'll see some pretty exciting things from us within the next year. I think one of the things that makes this car what it is, and the reason why somebody from, that was maybe born in the 40s that had a Trans Am in the 70s can still connect with the car now, here, is because this guy's the most elite Trans Am guy. As far as Trans Am Nationals, award-winning, they don't stop. They know where the overspray was on a 78, and they put it back on when they restore them. And if it's not right, they strip it off and they do it again. So I can design the car, the way that I would want to see it. If this guy loves it, then I know everybody will, because he's a top tier Trans Am fan. And so that's why the car plays off so well. The designs are really driven by passion. I'm a good designer, I'm not saying I'm not, but it takes somebody like him to design for it. To make that happen, it's not possible any other way. Anything else? You good? Yeah, you're welcome to come in. We can open the doors, interiors, anything you need. Let us know.
Well, I have to say, this is an interesting concept, turning the new Camaro into a Trans Am, and boy, let me tell you, the cars are very pretty, and I have a strong feeling that they're going to do very well with these cars. And just think about the horsepower. A regular one has 1,000 horsepower, and this special edition here has even 200 horsepower or more. Driving one of these cars has to be a hoot, I'll tell you that. And the styling is really good, I'll tell you. I like what they did here, and I think you're going to see a lot more of this in the future. These cars are really pretty cars.
Yeah, but he. Right.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Loud and clear. Okay, I'm just gonna do the mic drop thing, and I'll just tell you the specs of the car, and you can ask me questions later on. Thank you, everyone, for gathering here. I would especially like to thank our dealer for the East Coast Manhattan Motorcars who are hosting us and enabling this U.S. launch, U.S. premiere of the all-new hypercar made by Rimac Automobili, the C2. It is a U.S. premiere because we just launched the car in Geneva. For those of you who don't know about the company, we are a Croatian-based car manufacturer and technology company in first place, because technology is main of our businesses. We are focused on designing, developing, and engineering and manufacturing high technology solutions for the automotive industry. I can just list out some partners that we are working on, like Koenigsegg Regera. We do the batteries for them and the BMS systems. Another partner is Aston Martin Valkyrie project. Jaguar Land Rover, we developed the battery and the complete powertrain for E0. It's an E-Type. So there's many numerous projects that we are working on, and so far we were perceived as the technology company. Before C2, we had a Concept 1, which was made in only 8 units and sold out, but that was we could consider it as our learning project. That car was never meant to be sold, but through that car, we learned a lot about us, and we learned a lot about building a proper hypercar. And then we decided that now it's the time to upscale and to join the big league and play with the big guys. And the result of that is the C2. our all-new hypercar, which is a completely newly developed car from the scratch. There is a zero carryover from the previous car. I'll just take you briefly through some of the most interesting details about this car. So we moved from the cage chassis to finally we have the car with a full carbon monocoque. There is a lot of active aerodynamic elements that are on the car, like front air splitters, front flap in the hood, the largest active rear wing on the back of the car, which also has the air brake function. Special rims that are developed for the performance, because we want to achieve something that no one has ever achieved in terms of acceleration. So the result of hard engineering work is that this car accelerates 0 to 60 in 1.85 seconds.
Two.
And the EAC, which makes it, well, let's say combined driving, the car will do about 300 plus miles on a single charge. Besides that, the car is, just to get you to understand the amount of technology that is put in this car, we are developing also level 4 autonomous driving for this car, which will be the first time that car will come out with a level 4 autonomous driving. It is a very complex engineering behind it. It's still not ready, and there is still a long way to go to have this in the car. And also, very important and very essential thing for us is this car is going to be globally homologated car, which is a very unique and very rare thing to achieve in the world of hypercars. Besides that, I wouldn't like to talk too much about the cars. I would just like to have interaction with you, so I'll join you there, and if you will have any questions, I will be happy to welcome you inside the car, to let you in all in the car, to have a look at the car, and I'll be happy to answer all your questions, because all this sounds like a little bit boring, you know, me standing here, you there, it's like a lot of chit-chat. So why don't you all come in and let's do this laid-back way, completely informally. I'll open up the car for you, and yep.
Thank you so much. Just next to this. You can control.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you don't have
Can you open up the car?
So
How to get in?
So the price of the car is 2.1 million US dollars. We are talking about this, as I told you, we are entering the serious league with this car. So we are talking about 150 units that will be produced in the life cycle between 2020 and 2024. So the production and the first deliveries of this car with the two first customers that already have purchased the car starts in Q2, Q3 of 2020, which is also when we are planning to finish the homologation of the car. So guys, please, why don't you all come in? I'll open the car for you and I will show you around.
Open up the car for us.
Oh, yeah, right.
Just go around on the left side and we prepare some coffee for you and so you can enjoy it.
Open so we can get the shot.
And can you stand next to it just for a second after it's open? Thank you. Right there is good. Thank you. One more up here.
Here's the money shot.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah? Now there's a good smile. That's the $1 million smile we're at. Perfect.
And what is the top speed and horsepower rating? Can you say to the mic?
So the basic specs also, it's like 19,014 horsepower, 2,300 newton meters is the torque on motors, On wheels, it goes over 15,000 Newton meters.
And top speed again?
Top speed is 412 kilometers an hour. Acceleration 0 to 60 is 1.85. 0 to 100 kilometers is 1.97 kilometers an hour.
How many motors does it have? How many motors does it have?
The car has 4 electric motors and has a 120 kilowatt battery, and the power is distributed through our Remax all-wheel torque vectoring system that is controlling the distribution of the power 100 times per second on each wheel separately.
And what is the range?
The range is 650 kilometers.
In miles?
In miles, that's about 450 miles. But that's with the combined driving. If you have a heavy foot on the throttle, you're gonna do some range around 300 miles on a single charge.
I'll have to say, for an electric car, this was one of the most interesting vehicles that was at the show, and let me tell you, there'll be some interesting follow-up with this vehicle in the future. It certainly looks like it's going to be a big hit, and we'll just have to wait and see how it does in its debut. One of the most interesting things we did witness at the show was this race simulator from Volkswagen. Boy, let me tell you, looks like you could have some fun with this absolutely wonderful toy.
No, don't worry. I might just catch up. Push.
So how'd you do?
I got beat right at the end. But it was a good It was fun. It was fun. Thank you. Come on down, buddy. Oh, yeah. Okay. Go well. It's all right. It's all right. You gotta keep it light. Okay. All right. So if you want to just perfect. Just see. I'm good. All right. So what are you using here? Yeah. Dude.
Well, when you're having fun, time flies. Please return next week for the Race in Action Today as we get into a new adventure. And boy, let me tell you, it's been fun here.
This program is brought to you in part by SalCal Real Estate Connections.